live. We going live. Hey, y'all. Look, it says it's telling my followers I'm live. Because, look, this is rare. Okay. How are y'all feeling? Listen, I just did the same thing on Facebook because I never go live without an actual reason, right? Okay. So, I'm here just to say, hey, give y'all a little midweek motivation. Give y'all a little Wednesday wisdom. Okay. It's Cara Pressley, your favorite career cheerleader. And I know I'm your favorite, because I'm the only one you know. It ain't nobody else. It just ain't. It ain't nobody else, okay? Listen, shout out to everybody catching the replay. Listen, if you are not catching this live, okay, and you caught the replay, you are still important. You matter. You is kind. You is smart. And you is important. And I want you to put in the comments, replay RVA, because you're just catching the replay. I just want to know who my people are. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Listen, I just am so grateful. I'm just so grateful. It's like a whole new season. I feel successful. I feel important. I feel positive. I'm just so happy to be here. And I just want to thank y'all for joining me on the journey. You know how you following somebody online and you like, man, they going through a lot. They posting a lot. That's been me the last few months. And I appreciate y'all so much. It's so much stuff coming up. It's so much stuff coming up. If I could just complete a few things. But I hope to share it with you really soon. In the meantime, I have completed a few things, and I wanted to share those with you today. Of course, it has been 4 months since I left that job. I have retired. I appreciate y'all for following the journey. That has been successful. In addition to that, I have launched carapressley.com. That is a vibe to have a whole website where people, girl, tell me about you. What do you do? Who are you? Go to carapressley.com and read all about it. That has been a vibe. And most recently, actually yesterday, I have launched the Successful Podcast. And the first episode, the very first episode was 20 seconds. But the very first episode is available now. Hey, it's available now. And it is bite-sized content that's for you. Listen, I don't know about everybody else, but I love a good podcast. The problem is these podcast times don't love me. Have you ever gone to go listen to your favorite podcast and it's an hour and 55 minutes? I just don't have an hour and 55 minutes for you. I do have 20 strong minutes between here and the gym. 20 strong minutes between the grocery store and home. I got something for you. It just ain't an hour and 45 minutes. No. I have created your new favorite bite-sized podcast. I'm going to bring you guys guests. I'm looking for a guest. So if you want to be a guest, after this post, it'll be a post on how you can be a guest. But if you want to be a guest, let me know. It's going to be stories about me, things that got me through, things that are amazing, things that are helping me out. And I believe they can help other people out as well. Of course, if you want to know more about me outside of going to carapressley.com, please click on that Linktree bio Linktree link in my bio. It has a link to everything I'm doing, everything I am, every place I am, everybody I'm with. Go click on that because it's a vibe. That's really it, y'all, man. I just wanted to come on here and give y'all a little love, give y'all a little update, give y'all a little what's poppington. And I hope to be going live here more often. I go live in my group. We're going to start doing that every week. If you are not in my group and you're like, girl, what group you got? I don't know nothing about that. It's on Facebook. It's called Red Table Talk RVA, and it is a sister group of the main Red Table Talk with your people, Jada Pinkett and Willow and Gam and them, because we love them. They are family. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a vibe. I enjoy the group, and it's a nice place for you to go and congregate and learn about all things Richmond and people in Richmond and what people in Richmond doing. And if you got a product or a business or something that you want to share as well, please share it in the group, because I don't know who needs to hear this, but Richmond got something to say. And if I can help it, I'm going to share my people and their businesses with the group. So please go share your stuff in the group. Join the group, support the group. I appreciate y'all. I want to support y'all. And I'll be bringing y'all some more live soon. And of course, some more podcast episodes. If I can help it, I would love to do an episode a day. Why not? Because it's 15 minutes or less. And y'all need that. Y'all deserve that. Inspiration in 15 minutes or less. That's it, though. Happy Wednesday. I love y'all. Stay successful, and I'll talk to you soon.
Welcome to Raw Talent with your host, Miss Tink. Welcome to Raw Talent. Welcome to Raw Talent with your host, Miss Tink. Welcome to Raw Talent.
My name is Cara Pressley, and I am here with Tink. And I'm here with Tink, bringing you something amazing. I want you guys to all go to carapressley.com, and I want you guys to know that you are successful. How do I know that you are successful? I know because we're all successful. Success looks different every day. There are different levels to success. You do everything you can to be successful, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Just your effort is enough. Okay, infomercial. You want me to continue? Yeah. You believe in? So tell me, who is Cara? Oh, we done already started. Ain't no intro? Welcome to Rock Island. Who is Cara? Okay. Cara Pressley is amazing. She is successful. She is doing her thing, living her truth. And what is your truth? Just being out loud about my whole story. You know, like, there's a lot of moms, parents out here who want to say, like, oh, you know, I raised my son, we had our ups and downs, and that was it. No, this was rough. Okay, I didn't even pray for this. You know what I mean? Like, all ups and downs, it was just rough. It was rough. I mean, it was some beautiful moments, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing wrong with saying, like, I did not pray for this. I did not even enter parenting with the willingness to be here. Like, I want to be honest about that. There's a lot of people out there who hate their baby daddy, hate the situation that it came into,
that's right.
and ended up having parenting be a task, something they had to do. You know what I mean? I had to truly fall in love with my son, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. Yeah.
So did it take you a long time?
I don't want to say it did. Probably longer than others. Shout out to you if you loved your kids out the gate. I didn't. It did, you know. I mean, a few months.
Would you like to elaborate on why that was your struggle?
Because it was hard. Like, okay, I dated a drug dealer. You know what I mean? It's a typical situation. So he got locked up a month before. I was 9 months pregnant. A month before my son was born. And on top of figuring out his trial and I wasn't even focused on getting my son to full term or being healthy, or, you know, I was 19, so the only other biggest event I could compare it to at the time was prom.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And what is that?
Not even having a baby.
Not a comparison at all. Like, completely vast differences in just how that should have looked for me. So jumping into that,
mom, not even trying to, or even.
Yeah.
He didn't even have an opportunity to say he didn't want to be there, nothing.
He just won't, yeah. And was gone 6 years and came back and was there for 10 months and got in trouble again. And he is incarcerated still. My son's 19. Yeah.
So his whole life isn't.
Yeah. It was just a difficult journey. So, but at the same time, like, I just heard Sarita Jake say this morning. You know, one day you're going to thank God for those tears.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you do, and I do, because having my son at 19 turned me into a certain type of just vessel for success and order and getting things done. I mean, I was always pretty successful. I was always, you know, just accomplished in any room I kind of set my foot into. But at the same time, having my son behind me or someone I had to take care of kind of propelled that even more.
Do you have a relationship with him?
They do. It's not the best because
they do it so much.
At the same time, you know, I thank God for my perspective, which is always trying to tell my son, like, your father's just not in the best space.
Right.
You know, so he can only do what he can do. Yeah, you know, but he's not in the best space to give you the positivity I'm sure he would like to as a parent. You know.
How does that affect him?
My son? You know, I'll be 40 next year, right? And I
Don't
feel
look like it though.
thank you, girl. I feel like I'm just identifying even what I felt then, so I
Right.
can't even really say what his perspective is. Like, of course he deals with it and he pushes through it and says he's fine, and but he probably is not, or probably misses something. He has a girlfriend now. Shout out to her and their little relationship. Um, I feel like that's helping him identify who he is and his own standards and
Yeah.
terms.
It
And
takes time to find
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah. And then like I wasn't the greatest parent in his eyes because anybody who has to be the disciplinarian and the nice
Oh
one,
yeah.
I got to cheer you on.
You was a good cop and the bad cop.
Yeah, that is a rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because his father got locked up so young, um, when he did come and then he left again, my son, he told me later on, years later, he thought it was my fault. I got him. But he didn't know
The whole.
of course, he didn't. And, it was just interesting.
Well, it's not like y'all got open dialogue, which that's important.
Yeah.
Definitely come
Oh,
talk to you.
it came from work. It was some
Of
work.
course, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. He's still going through growing pains too, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's dope that y'all got a relationship where y'all can talk, because that's important these days, especially with like everything we facing in the world, adults, and not even how the kids or the younger generations is,
I had to build it in. Because I want to say when he was about 10, you get that last spanking. Like, how this is probably gonna be it. I had to trip him up to get him on the ground. And I was like, I'm really gonna really fight. Like, we are really.
Right.
And that's the moment I knew, like, I can't continue this with you, because he was already like 5. He was already taller than me. He's 6'4" now. I knew if I don't start the conversations now,
Right.
you're never going to keep a job. Because
Right.
you feel like you can do aggression to keep something or to control the situation. And that's not how life works.
Right.
So let me go ahead and start using my words with you, even though you don't want to listen.
Right.
Because they don't. But,
You're right. They think they know everything.
Yeah, it's like the
But we
parenting
probably
in
know
real
we
time.
know everything too.
We did. Oh, yeah. I did, yeah.
And they learn at a faster pace than we do. They learn
It's
at a way
different,
faster
child,
pace.
yeah. Well, I mean,
They got social media.
Yeah, and like I remember when he was in middle school, and I was, I'm still trying to control things at the house, and I'm like, I know the school's giving you a laptop, because he hadn't even been on electronics like that yet.
Okay.
But the school gave him a laptop, and I was like, maybe you shouldn't go to YouTube, like you got to still follow. And when we went to the school, and I'm like, what are the rules? They were like, well, if he can get on YouTube, it's allowed. He doesn't have to stop. And I'm like, y'all are making it real difficult.
Hard for me, yeah.
So I, do what you want, fine.
Yeah.
So.
That's frustrating too, because it goes
Yeah.
against what you're trying to guide him to do
Yeah.
at home,
Well,
and
these
then he
schools
goes
are
to school. Yeah. The
Yeah.
school's different, the teachers are different, the
Yeah.
times is different.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everything is fast track. I
Yeah.
hate blaming stuff on social media, but it's literally like Bobby Boucher mama said, the devil when they want to be.
I mean, social media is our generation's TV. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing they were saying. And TV did hurt us, I think, because I feel like a lot of us have a certain image of what like parenting, family should look like, or something. Even on that
facade.
Yeah, and that ain't it. It's more than a struggle that can be solved in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Amen. You need more time. 30 days.
Right.
Done.
So why the name of the career cheerleader?
I came up with that name because I needed one.
Cheerleader.
Yeah, I had been in my job for 15 years, and I was like, this is a long time already, and I'm tired. Okay, like I need someone who's gonna help me. I don't need a career coach, because like I got a job and I was getting promoted within the job, so I didn't need a coach. I didn't need someone to help me get a job. I didn't need to rewrite a resume. I needed someone to motivate me to continue to come to work every day, like until 2039, which was my retirement date on the paper. You know what I mean? Like. And I was like, 2039 is a long time.
Right.
From that.
It is.
It still is.
Yeah.
And since then, I've left that job. So, I mean, it shows you how that went.
Right.
We retired early, okay? But yeah, I just needed a cheerleader. I needed someone to help me remember my why. I needed someone to help me see how I could be myself at work.
You became your own life coach.
Yeah. Indeed, pretty much. But in a career facet, because, like, I was going through so much outside the job that was affecting the actual job. So my phrase with the whole career cheerleader thing is to help people create the life they want personally and professionally.
Right.
Because it's all in alignment.
Yeah.
People act like what's happening at home doesn't affect the work, but it does. Yeah, and we gotta
you
stop.
Can't leave Hurricane Katrina and walk to the promised land and just and walk back to Hurricane Katrina.
That's why 75% of people sit in the car in the driveway when they get home. I need a moment.
I gotta gather myself before I go here.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I was experiencing both. It was either my son won't drive me crazy or just the parenting in life driving me crazy with the job and the micromanaging. And so I was just trying to find some balance in myself. And I knew who I was and I knew what I was capable of. And I needed me to remind me of that. And
so did that take self-discipline to get to that point where you was able to get what you needed from yourself? Like, did you have to change some things?
It did, and that's where it comes to creating the life you want. It started by saying no to certain things, like in honoring myself. Like, kids will gaslight you. You know what I mean? Like, they'll ask you 10 times in a row for McDonald's food.
In different ways.
Yeah.
So can I have McDonald's? Can I have a mixed chicken?
Yeah, right. If we just I'm not going, okay? It say no. You know what I mean? Right. So having my answer and like sticking to it.
Yeah.
That is how I create the life I want. I don't want it though. I've cooked the food that we can provide here. If you don't like it, I need you to really digest that in your own feelings. Okay. You know what I mean? And even at work, they want me to do something on a project. I need X, Y, and Z to really make that happen. Because at jobs, they tend to want to do more with less. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't operate that way. And when I was 25, I thought it was doing it anyway and making it happen anyway and flipping over chairs to make this happen for my boss. And then they still don't care. They don't. They underappreciate. Yeah. So it's a no for me. Right. or this is what I need if that's what you want. Right. So yeah, it wasn't discipline, but it was also more just remembering who I was and reminding everybody else.
That's important though. Yeah. Standing firm in your decisions is very important, especially in the industry of dealing with artists and performers. And, you do videography. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Understanding that no, I'm not going in this area. I'm not going in this direction. And you're not gonna push me either.
Yeah, and like the job I had, I was a training analyst for the government. So it's super structured and following these rules. But it takes somebody to say these rules don't make sense.
They say some rules are put in place to be broken.
Hello. Yeah, so let me help you see the brokenness and bend it together.
And this is how you fix it. You want to do it this way.
Right. Help me out. Yeah, so I dealt with a lot of people trying to make up work and make up procedures, and I don't necessarily work like that. Right. So
wow, I like that. So what made you interested in creative design, creative advertising?
Creative advertising, I felt like there was just always a better way to do things. You know what I mean? So, prime example, I work with Excel to Excellence with Football League. Shout out to Michael Robinson and the Football League. And when I came on to help them with just like some administrative work. You know what I mean? And I was doing it, but then I was like, okay, well, who's gonna post like this weekend's game stuff? Like who's gonna? And they were like, well, nobody. And I'm like, well, what? Like my son plays football. Like we gotta show people that energy. Like we gotta show them the cheese fries. Like we gotta take a picture of the kids' cleats, like something. And I just created a lane for myself, social media wise, and I knew that there was a way for us to promote that in a creative way that the parents needed to see. And I was able to identify and speak to the audience that we had, which Instagram is not parents. Instagram is kids. So I started doing like shoe cam and here are the shoes I saw at the field. Like, oh, these are my favorite pair of Jordans. Which ones are yours? You want to be in the shoe cam. Interesting. You see yourself on the shoe cam. But then on Facebook, there's more parents. So that's where the bulletins need to go. My son calls it the old people. My son too. My son says all the time, you were born in 1900. I would burn me up. That thing burns me up. It does. First of all, you were close to it. Okay? But that video was talking about doing businesses and stuff, and he was like, I'm going to post it on Instagram, and then I'm going to post it on the old people IG. And I was like, call it old one more time. It's the old for me. It's the old for me. Right. I want to apologize to everybody over 40 who I call old. Did you get it back? 5 to 10. Yeah. Like when you realize how short life really is. Yeah. Stop calling stuff old. You know what I mean? But yeah. So that's kind of where it started, and then from there, I've always liked interviewing. I've always liked doing, just getting to know people. And I was already doing it in a one-on-one setting as a career cheerleader. And then the youth football, they started a podcast called Beyond the Field, and it was
kind of left up to me for all the creative direction, and I enjoyed it. And I was
look at
able
the lanes opening
right,
up.
yeah. It's all in the alignment. Like I had an idea, and they allowed me to execute. So,
and they gave
shout
you
out
what you
to them
needed to get it done.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
So, what kind of speaker are you?
Inspirational, but more so transformative. Like I want you to leave after I speak to you, and really, I want you to transform your thinking. I want you to have a perspective shift. I want you to say, "Man, I never thought about that." So you'll speak to more intimate crowds. Intimate crowds or bigger crowds. I'm an instructor by trade, so I really like talking to people in a smaller setting to just ensure that transfer of knowledge. But I mean, I'll speak to bigger crowds as well.
No, thought about doing life coaching?
I've thought about life coaching, but
I know we talked about finding that one thing, so I'm not gonna add.
No. I hear you. No, I hear you. Like I feel like it's a similar vein. You know what I mean? But I know just what my journey looks like and what it takes to really get me to want to change. And sometimes it's not just one thing or one person that has to say it. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 people. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 things. Sometimes it's something I'll come back 2 weeks later and be like, oh, that is it. Like everybody has different time frames on their mindset click or shift. You know what I mean? So I know that you can sit in and pay for all the life coaching you want, but if you're not ready to change, you're not gonna change. Like people say the phrase all the time, you know, when you know better, you do better. Yeah. But that's not really it. You gotta know better and want better. Yeah. Okay. You gotta really want better. Like you have to really perspective shift your mind into why I need to do that only and stay away from this for the time being, forever. You know, and those things shift for everybody. Yeah.
Cool. So what drives your ambition?
My son, bless that child of mine, because it's still an interesting relationship we have, but because I know what he's capable of, and I see myself in him, I know that if I continue to be the example, that he'll just believe it and he'll see it. Because kids act like they're not watching.
Oh, they paying attention.
Okay, until you hear them talk to their
friends. They don't want
to
like, think watching TV. But they can tell you everything you said on the phone to your grandma.
Right. Until you hear them tell their friends, well, my mama said, like, oh, we should do that.
What did I say that?
Okay. So, him seeing me seeing me, like, it's more so me. It's really people who don't even understand, like, I'm helping you, but it's also helping me.
That's dope, though.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm just taking a back.
Are you?
What do you enjoy doing the most professionally?
Oh, what do I enjoy doing the most? Whatever I want.
That's definitely a gift.
Listen, it has been
because you're not bogged in and boggled down.
Whatever I want.
Go ahead, bird.
Like even here, like interview on a Saturday after. Yes. I've got my nap scheduled. Okay, we are creating the life we want. All right, we are going to be revived. We are drinking our water and minding our business. That is it. Do what we want. Okay.
That flexibility is important.
Listen, for my mental health, it is absolutely. Like it's just I don't like to be in a box. You know what I mean? I'll follow through if I need to. Somebody needs something, but I really like to do what I want. I like interviewing the most. Though, if I had to pick an actual.
So how does it feel to be interviewed?
How does it feel to be interviewed? I like it though. Rarely am I in this chair, so there's a little release of control. But I do enjoy being interviewed because I do want to share my story. That's why we're here. Yeah, girl, don't I? Don't I? And like working for the government for so long, I worked there 20 years. I retired 3 months ago to pursue creative advertising full time. I didn't realize how much I had to unlearn. Even unlearning how I even present myself or who I am fully. Like I thought I was being myself fully, but I was only being my full self in the crevices of my life after 4 o'clock and on the weekend.
Oh, okay.
So to be able to fully be myself throughout the week, I don't have to worry about how this represents the government.
Right.
I don't have to worry about them coming back to say something to me because like there's a little air, a certain aura when you work for the government of what you can and can't do. Can and can't say how you can be. Who knows who's looking at you? Like it's really a thing. So I had to unlearn all that and kind of just allow myself to be and really just flourish.
So was the career change the persona that you created to allow you to be yourself?
say that. And I feel like we were talking about this a little bit earlier too. Like I've always had to have right. I've always had something in front of myself. So just to give you guys a background, like when I was trying to find myself, right? This is before the career cheerleader. I was I want to say when my son was about 10. Yeah, right about my son was 10 because there was an unlearning there of everything you thought parenting would be. I thought it was spanking him all the time, for our culture's term, beating his ass, yelling at him. I had to unlearn that and learn to talk to him. And I also had to learn who I was outside of parenting because I was exhausted. So I started doing stand-up comedy. Shout out to everybody who knows Big Bone Barbie. That's how I started. I was doing stand-up because I needed to be funny. I started doing candles just because I wanted to get with my girls. Plus, my son had a fire incident, so I felt like it was my duty to share some knowledge on fire safety. I started creating journals because I was always writing in journals, and I wanted other people to write in journals and feel how I felt. So I was always behind something. The candles, the journals, the stand-up. And career cheerleader came, and I was able to be a little bit more myself because I was able to use my perspective and my story to help transform other people. But now I don't have it's nothing else. Like it's all me. It's no candle, it's no journal. I'm still the career cheerleader.
But is it a bad thing when it comes down to selling products? If you got candles, and you got journals, and
it's not.
You know what I'm saying?
But
when you say you weren't yourself because you had these things in front of you, how were you hired?
Because it wasn't my passion. It was something I was good at that I chose to make money from in the moment. And a lot of people out there doing that. They just like, okay, I make a mean cupcake. Let me start selling these cupcakes because you're looking for the money instead of what's really you. And I had to sit down one night with myself in the middle of the floor. I remember crying because I was like, I don't want to make candles anymore. I don't want to tell jokes. I can't tell them I'm not Kevin Hart. Like, you know what I mean?
And I was going to ask you about the comedy, but this is what I forgot to mention. The comedy.
Yeah. I just had to sit down on the floor and say, what do all of these have in common? And it was the speaking part. That was the part I really enjoyed from all of them. I had to talk to the customer. I had to sell the candle, but I don't need something to talk to people. I can just talk to people.
Right.
So that's where that came
from. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you broke that down.
Yeah.
Because people need to understand that.
Yeah, just because you're good at it don't mean it's what you need to make money from. Right. Doesn't mean it's your passion.
And a lot of people are hidden behind it all the time. So you're right. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this because I can financially gain off this instead of feeding your soul.
Absolutely. Because then you become it soul snatches you because now you got to do that and it's not even fun. You're not even enjoying it.
You're stuck in a job that you don't want to do. Saying yes when you don't want to say yes.
Yep. Not creating the life you want.
Right.
Creating the life they want. Yeah. Right. Right. I'm not making no candles today. Yeah. I don't want to make no candles today. It's hot when you make candles. I enjoyed the process, but it was for that season.
So what was your scariest experience as a speaker?
Scariest experience as a speaker? That's a good question. That's a good question, girl. I'll say probably when I led my first training class. So speaking itself has always been pretty easy for me. But when I worked for the government, I traveled the country and taught a course. And I had a class in Detroit. And it was my class, just me. Like I was the lead instructor. I had 2 other instructors underneath me. And I had to make sure everything was perfect in the way it needed to be. And I knew I could execute, but I was still scared. But I did it. It was Detroit. I'll never forget. We normally tell people where to go eat for lunch because they can do what they want on their lunch. And the only place to eat in Detroit was across the street at the casino. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm telling my students to go to the casino. I'm thinking like, y'all set this black woman up for failure. There has to be a chicken box somewhere around here. There has to be something else. There's no McDonald's. There has to be something else. That's probably the only time, but I had to just put on my big girl pants and say, hey, okay, don't go over there gambling.
Right.
Go eat some lunch. And so that was scary. Yeah, because, we got government dollars involved and per diems, and so it was a little scary. But, I enjoyed that because traveling the country for them allowed me to travel the country for myself personally.
Yeah, okay. It's always good to experience something.
Yeah.
Traveling is fun.
Seeing
how different but alike cities are.
Yeah. It's like a time warp too. You're like, wow, this is different. Yeah, I love traveling.
So, what or who inspired you to be a speaker? I know you said it comes easy, but what birthed that?
In fourth grade, we did a play called the Scrooge, the Christmas one, right?
Okay.
And
did you play Scrooge?
I did not. You know what part I played?
What?
I was the narrator.
Okay. That's an important part, though.
It's important. I was there the whole play, and I was so excited because everybody was on me. Like, I was leading them to the characters, and I was leading them to what's happening next, and I led them to intermission, and I brought them back, and I was excited. And we performed it, and I went to private school, so we were at St. Patrick's. So I got to stand like on the main stage where the pastor spoke. I was like, I like this.
Oh yeah, you up there?
I like this. Yeah. I ain't got to remember no lines like that or like engage with other people. I was the
so does the engaging with other people part bother you when speaking?
It didn't. I just know I can only control myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I do tend to get frazzled if like you can't remember your line because in my mind I'm like, what's going on? Like you know what I mean? So it's different when you only have to be responsible for yourself. Yeah.
So what if you go to prepare for a speech, right? And things ain't going the way that you envision it.
Girl, that happens every time.
It's always our perfect. It's not the same perfect as everybody else. Everybody else like, oh, it's fine though. You're like, no, it's not right. You know what I'm saying?
Girl, but it's
how do you pull that in and just be like, okay, this is like even though it's not right, I'm gonna focus on this area and get.
I take a deep breath and say, Lord, guide me, like for real, and I get into alignment. And I just say, whether it was quote unquote good or bad, I'm going to learn something from this experience. Right. So was it really a loss? It's always a win if I get a chance to speak. So that's the beautiful part.
So what memorable, I'm getting tongue-tied, responses have you had to your work?
Memorable responses, probably working with Jada Pinkett Smith and having them say, come on out to the house.
Okay.
That was a vibe.
All right. That sounds like a vibe.
Yeah. That was memorable because, I didn't ask many people when I started my group, Red Table Talk RVA, but I remember asking a few people and they were kind of like, I remember asking 2 people in particular who only matter, and they were like, yeah, you should do it. Number one, it reminded me that I don't necessarily need confirmation from other people to do things.
You don't need that validation.
Right, but we all, just the human side of me wants to be validated. Like,
so do you still do that?
Like asking people for their opinion. Yeah. But my point is memorable because after they kind of validated and I knew in my spirit I was going to do this, I started it, I stuck with it, I loved working with them, and I got some great experiences from it because the government shut down.
Right.
And I was like, well, what am I going to do with all these talents? Like, you start to feel a little abandonment from the job that you've been dedicating your life to. And you're like, I thought that was secure. My daddy said this was a good job. And
so when you said they shut down, you mean like because of COVID?
No, they shut down because of the budget. Like, they did a government shutdown.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we were out of work for like 3 weeks with no check. And I was like, I got to use these talents. Like, what happens if, of course, the government's going to come back, you think. But what happens if they don't? What am I going to do out here in these streets? And that's when I started doing live interviews. I realized when I reached out to celebrities, they didn't have time. So I would promise them an interview in 15 minutes or less. And it's become a whole brand, a whole thing of 15 minutes or less because it's bite-sized information and it's actually exactly how I'm running
my life.
You
can impact the whole lot of 15 minutes.
Yeah. That's how I'm doing my podcast too, the Successful Podcast. Make sure y'all go subscribe.
And you bought the lunch. Something else, ain't you?
Yeah, CaraPressley.com.
Okay. And what's that going to encompass?
It's going to be just a website where people can finally go and just see, girl, who is this girl? Like, this is who I am.
People have asked me, like, what you got to do today? I'm going to be talking to the career cheerleader. They're like, who is that?
No clue.
She is her.
Right. Okay. We are here.
She got branches.
Okay. That part.
It's up for her to tell the story. Watch the interview when it come out. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. I'm going to tell everybody about it. But CaraPressley.com, they can learn about me. They can learn about what I do. I have a whole list of services on there.
They can hire you.
They can hire me from there, book an appointment, free consultations. We can talk about it. And if I lead you to someone else to work with somebody else, then good for you. Whatever it's going to take for you to, be successful. That's what I want. But I really want to remind people that success looks different every day. I'm even going to have some free resources on there for people to use, a whole list of successful affirmations and other things I'll be adding on as the weeks go along. And then, of course, some digital courses so people can really
improve their professional.
So no matter whether everything stops or not, we're
gonna
keep on cheering on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Of course, improve yourself. Yeah.
Yes. So what is your dream project?
Oh man, is there a dream? Like I guess my current dream project right now, I just want to travel the world on some form of a tour and inspire people. I don't know what kind of
motivation.
Right, listen, we tour in Richmond right now, but it sounds good to me. A successful tour, successful summit, if you will. I just want to go around and tell people more about my story and who I am and how they can do it too.
People don't understand how much of a blessing it is to have somebody pour into your life about their life. Because people think that, like, you know, I'm going through this, and I'm being like that single mother who don't love their child on day one. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people,
some people don't, y'all don't ignore it. I'm trying to, like, and even my son, like, I even had to tell him, like, you know, not like, oh, I don't love you, but it's just like, nobody prays to be a struggling parent. You know, you want to have a certain amount of money to the side, or you want it to be a great, you know, a better situation. And I mean, I made it out and made it successful, but, you know, it was difficult to digest. Right. It was difficult to digest.
And people need to hear that and hear that it's okay to feel like that.
Yes, it's okay to fail as a parent. These kids ain't gonna be hurt. They look. Okay, they might have to talk about it in therapy later, but you got to get through it. I mean,
did you deal with postpartum?
You know, I don't think I had the energy to define it for myself.
But you think you dealt with it?
Absolutely, I definitely. Yeah, but I was so robotic at 19, and you know, I had already moved out on my own, so luckily that was established. But when I think back, I'm like, girl, you was just so strong. I wish I could just hug me. You were just so strong. Own car, own apartment, 19, you was out on your own with that whole baby, paying daycare, working 2 jobs. Like, I was doing a lot. You know, thank God for the support of friends and family and my village, but at the same time, like my parents, and I love them to death, but they were also on some, this your bed, laying.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that's completely on their prerogative. They didn't have to help to, but you know, I look at other people, I'm like, they babysitting their kids, their grandkids, why you come get this for?
What's going on with that?
Yeah. But you know, life looks different for the people, so you know, yeah. People need to know that it's okay.
Yeah. We got a lot of stories.
Girl, I got a lot. I could be here all day. How long was the interview? What we talking about?
Well, you done tied me out because we done went avenues, extra questions, and everything. We done got it together, but it's so organic. I love it.
It's the vibe.
Yes,
it's the vibe. I love it.
I want to tell you I appreciate you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. What is your favorite form of self-care?
Reading.
Ooh, read. That's a good one. That's a good one.
And it irritates me if I can't.
Really?
Yeah. I would get frustrated. You know how people will be like, oh, Love and Hip Hop coming on at 8. I'm like, oh, I need 2 hours I can read.
I love it.
I can read 60 pages. Like, I need
I love that.
read this book. And I got to get the book too because I finished book 1.
I admire that.
It irritates me if I can't read.
I admire that.
Because it's a time where it's quiet and it's just me and my thoughts and it's not like negative.
Yes, you know yes, I love that.
Like flip the interview around.
I did just a little bit.
It's the first.
Is it? Back to you.
You're right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Hey y'all, it's Cara, your favorite career cheerleader, and as you can see, this is a new type of video giving you a behind the scenes of when I decided to retire. This is technically my last time walking into work. I have no idea how to feel in this moment. We are going through the motions. I feel like maybe I've already gone through a little bit of grief with it. 20 years, 10 months. You know, one thing I really want people to understand as they watch this video is when it comes to retiring, leaving your job, quitting, making an intentional decision, it's not an easy decision all the time. Sometimes it can look like this.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
That's me. Crying in the car, I had just made the biggest decision of my life. I didn't have to go back. And I didn't know what was next.
The next morning.
Okay, this is the part that makes it look like a fairy tale. She quit her job and she was whisked away and she lived happily ever after. Although I did have the time of my life, that same week after I retired and made the intentional decision to leave my job, I got flued out to Jada Pinkett Smith's house to actually just be rewarded for all the work I had done on Red Table Talk over the last 3 years. We had an amazing time. As they say, the rest is history. But one thing about it, I was going to enjoy this decision, no matter what was next. I still don't know what's next. I am creating the life I want as I go. One thing about me, what I am going to do is forever encourage y'all to do the same.
As the old folks, man, at the family reunion, okay? Hey, you just finished wiping star down, hey. We've been talking for 3 years. I know. We're here now. Look at the Lord.
Hey, Cara, how are you?
I'm feeling successful. How are you?
Oh, I love that. Feeling successful. Don't feel it, be it.
Right? Every day.
Tink did not come to play with you hoes. I came to slay, bitch.